Andre Norton was one of the first women to write commercial fantasy and the first to have a female protagonist as the main character. While there are plenty of women writing fantasy today and female readers of the genre outnumber males, when she started writing, she used a pen name to give readers and critics the impression she was a man. A librarian, passionate about fantasy, she fought the powers that be to get a copy of The Hobbit included in the libraries of Cleveland. She had a profound influence on the fantasy genre, having been read by at least 4 generations. Notable authors who she inspired include Greg Bear, C.J. Cherryh and Mercedes Lackey. She didn't start as a writer of fantasy. In the 1930s, she concentrated on crime, romance and historical fiction. It wasn't until the late 1950s that she began to focus on imaginary worlds, which is what most people now associate her with, especially the Witchworld series. 3 of those books, Witchworld, Web of the Witchworld and Year of the Unicorn, which is a loose adaptation of the classic fairy tale Beauty and the Beast, are superb. Most will label them today as young adult fiction, but they can be enjoyed by people of any age. But I'm not here to talk about Witchworld. I'm here to tell you about my favourite Andre Norton novel, The Beastmaster, which he wrote before Witchworld. The hero, Hosteen Storm, a Native American from the Navajo people, a former soldier who has telepathic connections with a group of genetically altered animals, emigrates from Earth to the distant planet Azor, where he's hired to herd livestock and also seeks revenge on the man who murdered his father. There were plenty of positive reviews when the book was first published. The fantasy is made convincing by the author's boldness of imagination and by his ability to yield totally to the atmosphere which he creates, was one of several reviews by the Kirkus Book Review between 1958 and 1963. Their critic was one of many who presumed Andre Norton to be a man. Norton wrote a sequel to Beastmaster, Lord of Thunder, published in 1962, and 3 more set in the same imaginary world with another author, Lynn McConchie. Fans of fantasy who become enamoured with the work of Norton should be careful. Many of her co-authored books published in later life, including those in the Beastmaster and Witchworld series, are not the same as the ones she penned single-handed. For me, the best example of her work before the flood of co-authored books published under her banner diluted her legacy is The Beastmaster. And if you want a standalone romantasy novel that puts everything else in that subgenre to shame, then The Year of the Unicorn in her Witchworld series cannot help but enchant. I've no time for romantasy unless it's top-notch. I read Year of the Unicorn in 1 sitting. Well, that's all for this episode. If you like what you hear and want to hear more, please follow me. If you want to help with the cost of making these podcasts, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Links to all the books I recommend can be found below.